Alhamdulillah, in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most gracious, the most merciful. Peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Sister, stop for a moment. Before you justify your anger, before you say, "This is just how I am," before you lose something you can never get back. Anger does not destroy your life in one explosion. It destroys it slowly, silently, piece by piece. It steals your peace. It damages your relationships. It weakens your iman. And the most dangerous part? You may not even realize it's happening. Today, this is not just a reminder. It is a wake-up call. Because if anger is controlling you, it is already costing you more than you think. Lesson 1. Anger destroys her inner peace. A woman's true beauty is not just in her appearance, and it is not limited to how she dresses, how she speaks, or how others see her from the outside. Her real beauty lives within her calmness, her softness, and her emotional stability. There is something incredibly powerful about a woman who is at peace with herself. When she enters a room, she does not bring tension, she brings comfort. When she speaks, her words do not wound, they soothe. When she faces difficulty, she does not collapse, she remains composed. That inner calm is a gift. It is a form of strength that cannot be bought or faked. But anger slowly steals that peace. Anger does not always appear as shouting or screaming. Sometimes it is silent. Sometimes it sits in the heart like a burning coal. A woman may smile on the outside while inside she is restless, irritated, and emotionally exhausted. Her mind becomes crowded with negative thoughts. She overthinks simple situations. She assumes the worst. Small issues begin to feel heavy and overwhelming. Instead of clarity, there is confusion. Instead of calmness, there is constant tension. When anger takes control, her mind rarely rests. She replays arguments again and again, thinking about what she said, what she should have said, and what she will say next time. She imagines future conflicts that have not even happened. She prepares responses in advance, ready to defend herself at any moment. Even during quiet times, her heart is not truly calm. It is alert, guarded, and defensive. This constant emotional alertness drains her energy. Over time, this state becomes her normal. She wakes up already irritated. She reacts quickly. She feels misunderstood. The smallest inconvenience feels like a personal attack. The problem is not always the situation itself. It is the unresolved anger sitting inside her heart. That anger colors everything she sees. Neutral words sound offensive. Simple advice feels like criticism. Silence feels like rejection. Slowly, her perception of the world changes because her inner world is disturbed. Inner peace is fragile. It requires patience, forgiveness, and trust in Allah. But anger feeds on ego. It whispers, "You deserve better treatment. You cannot let this go. You must respond." And when she listens to that voice every time, her heart becomes heavier. The more she reacts, the more she regrets. The more she regrets, the more frustrated she becomes with herself. This cycle quietly damages her emotional well-being. Anger also affects her body. Stress increases. Sleep becomes disturbed. Her shoulders feel tense. Her chest feels tight. She may not even realize that her physical exhaustion is connected to her emotional state. A heart that is constantly irritated cannot experience true rest. Even in moments of comfort, there is a background noise of unresolved feelings. Most importantly, anger distances her from the tranquility that Allah wants for her. Allah loves those who restrain their anger and forgive others. This is not because suppressing feelings is healthy, but because controlling anger protects the heart from corruption. When a woman chooses patience over reaction, she protects her own soul. She refuses to allow temporary emotions to dictate her character. Peace is not weakness. Many people misunderstand calmness as passivity. In reality, it takes far more strength to remain composed than to explode. Anyone can react. Anyone can shout. Anyone can defend their ego. But it takes discipline, self-awareness, and faith to pause, breathe, and respond with wisdom. That is power under control. A woman who masters her anger protects her inner world. She does not allow every comment to enter her heart. She does not give every situation permission to disturb her. She understands that not every battle needs to be fought, and not every emotion needs to be expressed immediately. She learns to process her feelings in a healthy way instead of projecting them onto others. When anger is controlled, her mind becomes clearer, her decisions become wiser, her relationships become healthier. Most importantly, her heart feels lighter. She is able to experience moments fully without carrying the weight of constant irritation. If she truly wants peace in her life, she must begin by protecting her inner peace. And that starts with controlling anger before it controls her. Lesson 2. Anger damages her relationships. One moment of uncontrolled anger can damage what took years to build. Relationships are delicate. They are built slowly through trust, kindness, shared memories, and emotional safety. But anger, when it becomes a habit, weakens that foundation piece by piece. A woman may not intend to hurt the people she loves. In fact, often she becomes angry because she cares deeply. She feels disappointed, unheard, unappreciated, or disrespected. But when those feelings turn into sharp words, harsh tones, and emotional explosions, can the very people she wants closeness with begin to pull away? Anger changes the atmosphere of a home. It shifts the energy of a conversation. A simple disagreement can quickly turn into a personal attack. Instead of discussing the issue, the focus becomes winning the argument. Voices rise. Words become heavier. Past mistakes are brought back. And once certain words leave the mouth, they cannot be taken back. A husband who constantly feels attacked may stop sharing his thoughts. He may become silent, not because he does not care, but because he fears another emotional reaction. Emotional safety is essential in marriage. When a man feels that every mistake will be met with anger instead of understanding, he slowly builds walls. Distance begins quietly. It is not always dramatic. It is subtle. Less conversation, less laughter, less vulnerability. Children are even more sensitive. A child who grows up around frequent anger becomes anxious. They begin to walk carefully, trying not to upset their mother. Instead of feeling warmth, they feel tension. Instead of feeling safe, they feel cautious. Over time, this affects their confidence and emotional development. They may become fearful, withdrawn, or even rebellious. A mother's anger does not only affect the moment, it shapes memories that stay for years. Friendships also suffer. Friends may initially tolerate emotional reactions out of love. But if every small issue becomes a conflict, if every misunderstanding turns into drama, they begin to step back. Not because they hate her, but because protecting their own peace becomes necessary. No one wants to constantly feel judged, attacked, or misunderstood. Anger often makes a woman believe she is defending herself. She may think, if I don't react strongly, they will not take me seriously. But strength does not require aggression. Respect does not grow from fear. When people fear someone's reactions, they may comply temporarily, but internally they disconnect. Another dangerous aspect of anger in relationships is how it distorts communication. When she is angry, she may not listen properly. She listens to respond, not to understand. She interrupts. She assumes. She reacts before fully hearing the other side. This creates repeated misunderstandings. Problems remain unsolved because real communication never takes place. Anger also has a memory. Even after apologies are exchanged, people remember how they were made to feel. Words spoken in rage leave emotional scars. Someone may forgive, but they do not easily forget the tone, the humiliation, or the intensity of that moment. Repeated anger slowly reduces trust, and without trust, relationships weaken. Sometimes anger becomes a pattern. Small irritation leads to reaction. Reaction leads to guilt. Guilt leads to frustration with oneself. That frustration builds until the next small trigger appears. This cycle repeats until it becomes her normal way of interacting. The people around her begin to expect it. They label her as short-tempered or difficult. Once a label forms, it becomes harder to change people's perception. Most painful of all is when she later realizes that the damage was avoidable. Many relationships do not end because of one big betrayal. They end because of consistent emotional exhaustion, constant arguing, constant tension, constant negativity. Over time, love feels heavy instead of comforting. Islam teaches emotional control because it protects relationships. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ emphasized good character repeatedly. Good character is not tested when everything is easy. It is tested during anger. When she controls herself in moments of frustration, she strengthens her relationships instead of weakening them. Healthy relationships require patience. They require the ability to pause before reacting. They require empathy, the willingness to see from the other person's perspective. When anger is controlled, conversations become calmer, disagreements become manageable, solutions become possible. A woman who learns to manage her anger creates a home filled with emotional safety. Her husband feels respected. Her children feel secure. Her friends feel valued. People feel comfortable opening their hearts to her because they trust her reactions. Anger may give temporary satisfaction, but patience builds lasting connection. If she truly values her relationships, she must understand that every reaction either builds a bridge or burns one. And once too many bridges are burned, rebuilding becomes difficult. Protecting relationships begins with protecting the tongue, the tone, and the temper. When she chooses calmness over chaos, she chooses connection over conflict, and that choice can transform her entire life. Lesson 3. Anger weakens. Her iman, anger, is not just an emotional issue, it is a spiritual test. Many people think anger only affects relationships and mental health, but its deepest damage is often unseen. It quietly weakens her iman. Iman is not only about prayer and fasting, it is about character. It is about how she behaves when she is tested. Anyone can appear religious when life is easy. Anyone can speak softly when they are pleased. But true faith is revealed in moments of frustration, disappointment, and provocation. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ advised a man, "Do not get angry." The man repeated his request for advice several times, and each time the Prophet ﷺ responded with the same words, "Do not get angry." This repetition shows how serious this issue is. Anger is not small in the sight of Allah. It opens doors to many other sins. When a woman allows anger to control her, her tongue often follows. She may say things she would never say in a calm state. She may insult, mock, curse, or humiliate. She may bring up past mistakes to hurt someone intentionally. She may expose secrets shared in trust. In those moments, she is no longer acting from faith. She is reacting from ego. Shaitan loves moments of anger. When a person is angry, their judgment becomes clouded. They are more likely to act without thinking. They justify harshness. They feel temporarily powerful. But once the anger fades, regret replaces it. That regret is heavy. It affects the heart. Iman is strengthened through self-control. Every time she resists the urge to explode, she is strengthening her connection with Allah. But every time she surrenders to uncontrolled anger, she weakens that connection. Not because Allah is harsh, but because sin creates distance in the heart. Anger can also lead to arrogance. She may feel that she is always right. She may refuse to apologize. She may hold grudges. Pride enters quietly. Instead of seeking reconciliation, she justifies her behavior. Instead of reflecting, she blames others. This pride is dangerous because it blocks self-correction. A heart filled with constant anger struggles to feel softness in worship. Salah may feel rushed. Dua may feel empty. Quran may not touch the heart deeply. Why? Because anger hardens the heart. And a hardened heart struggles to experience spiritual sweetness. There is also the issue of forgiveness. Islam encourages forgiveness repeatedly. Allah is Al-Ghafur, the most forgiving. If she wants Allah's forgiveness, she must learn to forgive others. But anger makes forgiveness difficult. It keeps wounds fresh. It reopens old memories. It whispers, "They do not deserve forgiveness." Yet holding on to anger often hurts her more than anyone else. Iman requires humility. It requires accepting that not every insult needs a response, and not every injustice requires immediate reaction. Trust in Allah's justice allows her to let go of certain matters. When she believes that Allah sees everything, she does not feel the need to fight every battle. Uncontrolled anger can also lead to backbiting. After an argument, she may speak negatively about the person to others. She may exaggerate their faults. She may seek validation by sharing only her side of the story. This damages not only her relationship with people, but her standing before Allah. Another spiritual danger of anger is how it distracts from gratitude. A woman consumed by irritation often overlooks blessings. She focuses on what went wrong instead of what is right. She magnifies mistakes and minimizes favors. Gratitude decreases, and dissatisfaction increases. This mindset affects her relationship with Allah because gratitude is a core part of faith. The strong believer, as described in Islam, is not the one who defeats others physically. The strong believer is the one who controls themselves when angry. This self-control is a sign of maturity and deep faith. It shows that she values Allah's pleasure over her temporary emotions. It is important to understand that feeling anger is not sinful. Anger itself is a natural emotion. Even the prophets experienced anger, but their anger was controlled and for the right reasons. The problem begins when anger controls behavior, speech, and decisions. When she feels anger rising, that is her moment of spiritual opportunity. That is the moment to pause, to remember Allah, to seek refuge from Shaitan, to lower her voice instead of raising it, to choose patience over reaction. Each time she does this, her Iman grows stronger. On the day of judgment, character will matter. Words spoken in anger will matter. Broken hearts will matter. She will not regret the moment she stayed silent for the sake of Allah, but she may deeply regret the moments when anger led her to hurt others. A woman who wants strong Iman must protect her heart from constant rage. She must replace grudges with dua, replace harshness with wisdom, replace ego with humility. This transformation is not easy, but it is powerful. When anger is controlled, the heart becomes softer. Worship becomes more meaningful. Forgiveness becomes easier. Her relationships improve. Peace increases. And most importantly, her closeness to Allah strengthens. Anger may feel powerful in the moment, but true power lies in restraint. True faith shines brightest when emotions are tested. If she truly wants to protect her Iman, she must learn to master her anger before it masters her. Lesson 4. Anger destroys her reputation. A woman may possess intelligence, beauty, talent, and countless admirable qualities. She may be educated, hardworking, generous, and capable. But if she becomes known for uncontrolled anger, that single trait can overshadow all her strengths. Reputation is fragile. It takes years to build and only moments to damage. People do not remember every detail about someone. They remember how that person made them feel. If interactions with her are often tense, explosive, or emotionally draining, that becomes the lasting impression. Over time, her name may become associated with difficulty rather than dignity. Reputation is not built in public speeches or social media images. It is built in daily behavior. It is built in how she reacts when things do not go her way. It is built in how she treats people during disagreement. Anyone can smile when they are happy. Character is revealed when they are upset. When anger becomes frequent, people begin to adjust their behavior around her. They may choose their words carefully, not out of respect, but out of fear. They may avoid honest conversations to prevent triggering her reactions. They may exclude her from certain discussions because they anticipate drama. Slowly, she may not even realize that doors are closing quietly. In professional settings, uncontrolled anger can damage credibility. A woman may be highly skilled at her work, but if she reacts emotionally under pressure, colleagues may hesitate to trust her leadership. Employers value emotional stability. They look for individuals who can handle stress with maturity. If she becomes known for overreacting, it can limit opportunities without her fully understanding why. Within family circles, reputation matters deeply. Extended relatives observe behavior over time. If she frequently raises her voice, argues publicly, or speaks harshly, people begin forming opinions. These opinions spread quietly in conversations she is not present in. Once a negative image forms, it becomes difficult to change. Anger can also lead to public embarrassment. Words spoken in rage may be shared. Incidents may be remembered long after she has moved on. A single uncontrolled moment at a gathering can become a story retold for years. While she may regret and forget, others may continue to associate her with that incident. One of the most damaging aspects of anger is unpredictability. If people feel they never know which version of her they will meet, calm or explosive, they begin to feel uncomfortable. Stability builds trust. Unpredictability weakens it. Over time, people distance themselves from unpredictability because it feels unsafe. Respect is different from fear. Some women mistake loud reactions for strength. They believe that if they respond aggressively, people will respect them. In reality, fear may produce temporary silence, but it does not create genuine admiration. Respect grows from composure, fairness, and wisdom. There is a powerful dignity in a woman who remains calm under pressure. When she listens before responding, when she speaks firmly without shouting, when she addresses issues without personal attacks, people notice. They may not praise her openly, but internally they admire her control. That admiration builds a strong reputation. Anger often exaggerates situations. Minor mistakes become major offenses. Small misunderstandings become dramatic conflicts. When this pattern repeats, others may begin to see her as someone who creates problems rather than solves them. Even when she is right, her delivery may overshadow her message. The truth loses impact when wrapped in hostility. Reputation also affects future relationships. When someone is introduced to her, they may already have heard descriptions shaped by her past reactions. Be careful, she gets angry quickly. She is very sensitive. These warnings may not reflect her entire personality, but they influence expectations. Starting with a damaged reputation means constantly having to prove otherwise. Another serious consequence is self-perception. When she repeatedly reacts with anger and later regrets it, her own confidence may weaken. She may begin to feel ashamed or frustrated with herself. This internal conflict affects how she carries herself. Reputation is not only how others see her, it is also how she sees herself. Islam places great emphasis on character because character defines legacy. Wealth fades, beauty fades, status changes, but character leaves a mark. The Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was known for his noble character even before prophethood. His reputation made people trust his message. In the same way, a woman's consistent calmness strengthens her credibility in every area of life. Anger can make someone known for their worst moments instead of their best qualities. Imagine years of kindness being overshadowed by repeated emotional outbursts. People may start overlooking her generosity because they remember her temper. They may forget her intelligence because they focus on her reactions. Changing reputation is possible, but it requires consistency. One apology is not enough. One calm week is not enough. People rebuild trust when they see sustained change. When she begins responding differently, speaking more gently, and managing her emotions wisely, perceptions slowly shift. It takes patience, but it is achievable. A wise woman understands that every reaction contributes to her image. Every public interaction shapes how she is remembered. She asks herself before speaking, will these words protect my dignity or damage it? This awareness transforms behavior. True strength is quiet confidence. It does not need shouting to prove authority. It does not rely on intimidation. It stands firm without losing composure. A woman who controls her anger preserves her reputation, protects her dignity, and earns lasting respect. In the end, reputation is a reflection of repeated choices. If she repeatedly chooses anger, she builds a reputation of instability. If she repeatedly chooses patience, she builds a reputation of grace. And grace leaves a legacy that anger never can. Lesson 5. Anger destroys her own heart. The most painful truth about anger is this: it hurts her more than anyone else. When a woman becomes angry, she may believe she is releasing pressure. She may feel justified. She may feel powerful in the moment. But long after the argument ends and the voices fade, she is the one left carrying the emotional weight. Anger does not leave quietly. It lingers inside the heart. Anger is heavy. It sits in the chest like a burden. It tightens her breathing. It disturbs her sleep. It makes her restless even in moments that should feel peaceful. While others may move on quickly, she replays the situation repeatedly in her mind. She thinks about what was said, what should have been said, and what might happen next. This constant mental replay exhausts her emotionally. Over time, the repeated anger changes the condition of the heart. It becomes more reactive, more sensitive, more defensive. Instead of approaching situations with openness, she approaches them with suspicion. She expects disappointment. She prepares for conflict even before it begins. This expectation alone creates inner tension. Anger also slowly transforms into resentment. What began as one argument becomes a collection of stored grievances. She remembers past mistakes vividly. She keeps a mental record of wrongs. Every new disagreement reopens old wounds. The heart never fully heals because it never fully forgives. Resentment is dangerous because it feels protective. It convinces her that holding on to anger keeps her safe from being hurt again. In reality, it traps her in constant emotional pain. Forgiveness does not excuse wrongdoing, but it frees the heart from carrying unnecessary weight. Without forgiveness, anger becomes a permanent resident in her heart. There is also guilt. After reacting harshly, after saying words she regrets, she feels remorse. She may apologize, but internally she feels disappointed in herself. She questions her self-control. She wonders why she cannot stay calm. This self-frustration adds another layer of emotional burden. Now she is not only angry at others, she is upset with herself. Chronic anger affects physical health as well. Constant stress increases tension in the body. Headaches become frequent. blood pressure may rise, muscles remain tight. The body was not designed to live in a permanent state of emotional alarm. When the heart is constantly agitated, the body suffers quietly. Spiritually, anger hardens the heart. A heart that is constantly irritated struggles to feel gratitude. Instead of noticing blessings, she focuses on irritations. Instead of appreciating kindness, she searches for flaws. This negative focus shapes her overall outlook on life. Even good moments feel incomplete because her heart is not fully present. Another hidden damage is emotional isolation. When anger dominates her heart, she may withdraw. She may feel that no one understands her. She may believe she must protect herself by keeping emotional distance, but isolation increases sadness. Humans are created for connection. When anger pushes others away, loneliness replaces closeness. Anger can also distort identity. She may begin to see herself as the angry one. This label affects her confidence. She may feel ashamed or misunderstood. She may fear that she cannot change. Over time, this belief becomes self-fulfilling. She reacts quickly because she already expects herself to react quickly. Behind most anger lies something deeper: hurt, disappointment, fear, exhaustion, feeling unappreciated, feeling unheard. Sometimes anger is simply pain that has not been addressed properly. Instead of expressing vulnerability, she expresses rage. Instead of saying, "That hurt me," she says something harsh. Vulnerability feels risky, so anger feels safer. But anger is not true protection. It is temporary armor that damages the heart from within. Healing begins when she pauses and asks herself honest questions. Why did this situation trigger me so strongly? What fear or pain is hiding beneath this reaction? Am I reacting to the present moment or to unresolved past wounds? Self-awareness is powerful, and it allows her to respond instead of react. Controlling anger does not mean suppressing emotions. Suppression leads to explosion later. It means processing emotions wisely. It means choosing the right time, tone, and words. It means seeking solutions instead of revenge. It means asking for respect calmly instead of demanding it aggressively. A peaceful heart is one of the greatest blessings in life. When her heart is light, she enjoys simple moments. She laughs freely. She sleeps peacefully. She worships with presence. But when her heart is filled with anger, even beautiful moments feel dull. She may be surrounded by blessings but unable to fully enjoy them. Islam teaches that hearts find tranquility in the remembrance of Allah. When she turns to Allah during moments of anger, she invites calmness into her chest. Making wudu, stepping away from the situation, lowering her voice, and seeking refuge from shaitan are not small actions. They are protective measures for her heart. True strength is not expressed in dominance. It is expressed in restraint. The woman who controls her anger protects her emotional health, her relationships, her reputation, and most importantly, her heart. If she continues feeding anger, her heart becomes harder over time. But if she chooses patience repeatedly, her heart becomes softer. Softness is not weakness. A soft heart feels deeply, forgives sincerely, and loves purely. That softness is a strength that transforms homes, families, and communities. In the end, anger promises relief, but delivers regret. It promises power, but leaves pain. It promises protection, but creates wounds. The cost is too high. Her heart deserves peace. It deserves healing. It deserves calmness instead of chaos. When she chooses to master her anger, she chooses to protect the most precious part of herself. Because once the heart is damaged deeply, rebuilding it takes time, and protecting it today is far easier than repairing it tomorrow. Before we end, remember this: anger may feel powerful in the moment, but it leaves you powerless in the end. Every harsh word, every uncontrolled reaction, Every emotional explosion, it does not just affect others. It shapes your destiny. It shapes your home. It shapes your heart. You are not weak for feeling anger. You are human, but you are strong when you control it. The woman who masters her anger masters her life. She protects her peace. She protects her relationships. She protects her iman. And most importantly, she protects her heart. Do not let one emotion define your character. Do not let temporary rage destroy permanent blessings. Choose patience over pride. Choose calmness over chaos. Choose Allah over your ego. If this reminder touched your heart, then take it seriously. Reflect on it, act on it, and share it with someone who may need this wake-up call. Subscribe to the Eman Chapters for more powerful reminders that strengthen your faith and protect your soul. May Allah purify our hearts, soften our character, and make us among those who control their anger for His sake. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.